I had Dana Bees in the room. How about that?
Okay, it says we're live. Bring up the page.
We live.
Yeah, it says we're live.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Oh, yeah, we're ready to go. Well, I guess go ahead and hit the advertisement. Where's that thing at? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it still does say, you know, Bushcrafty, but I'm still the same person. So.
Well, you
can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live life on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need.
There we go. And
I was
I
getting
just
into it. I done started head banging.
I just figured out that this guy that I got that song from, We All Had Enough song, he's actually pretty famous. He's had songs that are on Creed 3, I think it is, the kind of redone of Rocky where it goes into the Creed part.
Right.
But
I watched all three of them this weekend.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm. Now, I will tell you this. Just like any movie, the first Creed was the best one, period.
Yeah. Second was pretty good, but the third one I didn't like. I didn't like. And
I don't think I've seen or talked to anybody that liked Creed 3 because you got different producers.
Yeah.
They didn't mention Rocky. They didn't mention the boy's father or none of them one time. You know,
Rocky wasn't talked about, or what happened to him. There's no talk about him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but I will say this right here. The ending of it was a little bit better than I thought. They left on good terms with one another, you know, but that, you know, that's it.
And there was another movie that he does, and this guy does free copyright too. So all of his stuff is that you can use it on YouTube without getting in trouble. That's why I have his music in a lot of my videos, because I know I won't get in trouble with them unless he decides to, you know, sign on with a label or something. Then maybe I have issues later down the road, but it happens. And
hello,
I want to thank Carol Z for re-upping, I guess it is, for being a member. And thank you all my members for, you're basically paying for StreamYard.
No cup of coffee.
Thank all of you guys for being out there supporting the channel and whatnot. I appreciate it. I mean, without you guys, we'd be up here talking to each other.
That would get boring after a while.
But we got Suburban Hillbilly. Oh, bot just popped up, didn't it? There it is.
No, Watchmen India.
Huh? I said
We
the
got
bot
Ginger
popped
Ninja.
up.
Hello, Ken. Oh, the bot. I thought you said,
Yeah.
sounded like you said what? You got 10 TV in here.
Yep. Hello.
Shift
Oops, I missed
kicker.
10. Hi, 10. Hey, Shift Kicker. Got Nomad. There's the lady. Sassy Cat.
You can't pronounce the last name either, huh?
That it's either because I can't make out on this if those are A's or O's. So I don't know if it's Dogger status or Dagger status.
DAGGERSTATUS.
Yeah, is it an O or an A though? Because the O's and A's look
It's
the
an A.
same with this font.
Now, believe it or not, it is an A because the
Oh.
back side of it is straight.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Dagger. Lady Dagger.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it fine on, regular chat. You can see it really good. It's StreamYard has a weird font for some reason. Some letters you can't hardly make out for nothing.
True.
Yeah. It's
Hello,
not like,
lively prepper.
and it's not like me and Jeff are up here drinking super beer.
Yeah, I need some good old super beer.
Hey, B.
He needs a prize.
And there's a good
The
channel
prize
for everybody
is
to check
you're
out.
here.
If you didn't watch the interview and stuff, that was an excellent interview. And you should go check out his lives. He has really good lives.
You know, I'm still running commercials.
I wouldn't doubt it. YouTube.
Now I got a circle. There we go. Oh, I am wore out today.
Wore
Not
out.
one, but two. Yeah, not one, but two grand youngins teamed up on my tail today. AB, I've been drinking super beer.
You better watch out for that stuff. But
Yeah, man, it'll
anyways,
sneak up on you.
I've been wanting to do this, and I want you guys in chat to be involved in this. So I've seen people do these scenario things, like if you get stuck in the woods and how you survive, or shift comes around and you have to survive somehow in different scenarios like this. But every scenario I've seen, they have a set way. The only way, their way is right. And it's just not, that's just not life. You know what I mean? Because there are people who are disabled. There are people that can't run that far. There are people that don't know how to start a fire. There are people that don't know how to do this stuff. And just because you say, oh, this is the only way you can survive, doesn't make it the only way that you can survive. Now, there are times like, say you're in an airplane and it crashes in the water. The same scenario I've heard. Well, you should swim down and get all your stuff that you can get and whatnot. And then you go to shore, you make your camp and everything. It sounds all good and everything, but what if the person who crashes doesn't know how to swim? They're not going to go diving down under the water to get their supplies out of this plane. So that's way any survival situation, it's going to be different for every person. What I would do is totally different than somebody else would do. And that's ways of looking at it. So I wanted to come up with scenario type things that we could all talk about. And like I said, I want chat to be involved in it. I want to hear your versions of this. That way we all learn something from it. You know what I mean?
Oops.
Just different things, you know. So in lieu of that, I wanted to talk about the airplane thing, and it could be something that happened to anybody. You and your family are out in a small plane. You're heading over a wooded area. It's very hard to find a lot of wooded areas anymore, but something happens to pilot and the plane is going down and it crashes into a lake, and you're right there in the middle of the lake. And what do? You know, if you can swim, if you can't swim, what do? You know, that is the $1 million question, basically. I can say what I would do, but like I said, it's totally different than what everybody else would do. Like I said, some people won't be able to swim that far. Some people won't be able to go down and get, you know, first aid kits and your luggage and all that stuff. And there's the whole shock that you just crashed and you're in the middle of the water and you're the plane's sinking. What do you do, you know? And we got what life? You're going to doggy paddle, which would be smart. It's not like you're going to go sprint out there and swim as fast as you can. Like I said, if you're there with your family, one of the first things you're going to do is get your family out of the plane before it goes down.
Exactly.
If you're by yourself, that's totally different. Now I've seen tons of movies where planes crash, and there's this one I can't remember his name, but the guy on Silence of the Lamb that likes to eat people. He crashes with it. He crashes in a plane with two other guys, and they all swim to shore and whatnot. That's kind of like the scenario there, other than the two guys. Yeah, Hannibal guy. I forget what his name is. But
I can see his face.
Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to post it in chat. But But
Yeah.
that's the thing. This old guy, you have two really strong men. Yep, that's it. Anthony Hopkins. You have two really strong
Thank you,
guys.
Sean.
That is, yeah, they're big and strong. And they can swim up there and whatnot. The one guy actually cuts his leg, which was a big no-no. But Anthony Hopkins barely makes it to shore, and he's kind of looked down on as the poor old man, but ends up this old man has something that them two young men don't have, and it's smarts, common sense, and he reads books like crazy, survival books and whatnot. He knew he was going into Alaska, so he read books on how to do this and how to do that, how to make a compass, and all kinds of stuff. But the young guys look down on him, and that's kind of where I want to go with this. Is too often, older people are looked at as that we have to bring them along, and they're going to be a burden on everybody. It could be that, you have bad legs or whatever, you're disabled, whatever the case may be. Every majority of people have purpose. They have something that, this younger generations will never know. They didn't have to survive on, things that wasn't on the internet. When
Cornbread and pizza.
we needed to do something, we learned how to do it. You know what I mean? You just didn't go, oh,
Yep.
okay, well, let me watch this video on how to do this. Oh, okay, that's easy. We just had to do it, and if we failed, we did it again until we did it. And that's how we learn.
Well, now, it's like, I said earlier, I had two of my youngest, grand youngest down here with me today. I took them out to the garden and showed them what's already out there and everything, and we planted seeds, in little cells, okay? And they was expecting them to bloom overnight. And nobody, my daughter, her husband hasn't really showed neither one of them gardening or anything like that, And they was out there, and we walked around the yard. Now, mind you, we got 3 acres out here, okay?
Yeah.
And some of us got trees in it. That little girl of mine, she was pointing out flowers, what's this, what's that, and she even brought dandelion in. She said, how about this flower? I looked at it and I said, it's a dandelion. She said, no, it's a flower. I said, all right. I said, it may be a flower, but the correct name is called dandelions. And the wife said, yeah, that's what they make tea out of. And right out of nowhere, she pops it in her mouth, spits it right back out. She says, yuck. I told her, I said, there's a process you got to do in order for it to taste good. She said, I don't want none. So, but that is, we've been here 8 years, and I think it's the first time that they've been out here without mom and daddy. And I'm happy. I really am.
Mm-hmm. And that's
we
the
kind of
thing
knew.
You say that they don't know nothing about, you you put a seed in the ground and then, oh, you got a whole lunch sitting out there. It actually takes time, and you have to nurture it and feed it and all that stuff, and water and whatnot. And that's the issue with the young people out there. They don't know that this stuff just doesn't, pop up in the supermarket.
Right. And I kind of told myself, as it's growing, from now till harvest, I'm going to take pictures of it. I'm going to let them see the seeds that they planted and everything, see how it comes out and what it takes. And truthfully, I'm really hoping that would be a trade that they would want to take up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one important thing is gardening. Something that you can have a handful of seeds and you can feed yourself with. It's just not like, poof, they come up, which would be nice, but
exactly. Well, now
and
this weekend.
Go ahead.
Well, now this weekend, there's a lag here somewhere.
Yeah.
But I spent over $20 in seeds, and I didn't get that much. I mean, each pack was about $2.49. It ain't none of this $2 for $1 stuff no more. This shit's gone. And I know what not to do with my seeds. I know not to put them in the refrigerator. So, but, that's something I learned.
I wish I had enough space to put 60 tomato plants.
God, if I planted that many tomato plants, and it's just me and my wife, we wouldn't have time to harvest anything else. We'd be sick and tired of this. No cucamelons, no cucumbers, and nothing else.
No cucamelons.
Yeah, I've got to get some watermelon put in the ground. I refuse to pay $8 for a dead burn watermelon.
A crappy one at that.
Well, that's not just Walmart. That's anywhere now.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about them little basketball type ones. I'm talking about the ones that look like a football, with stripes on it. The good ones.
Yeah, it used to be like an art to go and find tap in it and then look at the ends and smell on it and find the perfect watermelon. Now you'd be searching through that big old bin and never find one. Even if it looks good, when you take it home, it's like, where's the taste of this thing?
Well, now the last two watermelons, or not last two, but the last 2 times I planted watermelons that I've brought them inside. Just as soon as I stuck a knife in it, it busted all the way around. And I knew right there and then that was going to be a good watermelon. And that's got to be the best watermelon I think I've ate, is a homegrown, where you walk out to your own garden and get it, because the work that you put into it to get it to the point to eat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was watching the guy from Haas Tools. They were answering questions and stuff, and people was wanting to know how you pick good squash, and how do you know when it's time to harvest it and stuff? And I'm like, well, it's a fingernail, you know. If
Yep.
your fingernail, if you push on, and this is like not like zucchini or stuff, the other types of squash, winter squash and whatnot. If you use your thumbnail, and if it goes in real easy, it's not time yet. But if it's a little bit harder, then it's ready to go. And you can tell by the leaves and whatnot.
Yeah. Now, me, I don't like a huge squash. Maybe, about medium, you know, because that way it is not too young, and it damn sure ain't old enough to where you got to have a hammer to beat it.
Well,
you know.
Well, the thing is, squash is really good because if it's stored right, you can save them for 2-3 months after you harvest them, and just keeping them in a dry place. And you just go like he was talking about on one of his videos that spaghetti squash. He tried it the first time, didn't like it at all. And then he had it again, and he's like, "Oh man, this is good stuff." And it's because he didn't know when to harvest it. And then when he started getting
it's like a persimmon.
Yeah, growing squash, he started to learn how to grow it.
Yeah. Now, if anybody has 8% a ripe persimmon, you know what it's supposed to taste like. But now, if you go out there on your own and you see a persimmon tree, first thing you're going to want to do is pick one off the limb. Well, when you bite into it, you're going to know real quick. It ain't nowhere near being right. Yeah, really. And I've had a lot of fun with unripe persimmons with other people that's never ate none.
Yeah, you go up north area. I'm talking northwest area where they have elk and whatnot. Have you ever come in contact with a drunk elk?
I've never seen an elk up close. Okay.
Well,
now I've seen a drunk squirrel.
Well, the apples will fall to the ground, and once they start going bad, they'll actually ferment. And the elk will go over its apples, so they'll go there and gorge themselves on a bunch of apples, and they'll start chawing down on them things, and then all of a sudden, woo, and if they get into your house or something, it'd tear your house up. It's some of the funniest things. Well, see, Craig's seen a drunk deer before, but not elk.
Well, the funniest thing I ever seen was a squirrel so drunk he couldn't climb a tree.
Oh, he's seen a bear. Oh man, that'd be hilarious from a distance.
Yeah, that's almost as bad as that movie they hyped up, Cocaine Bear.
Oh yeah.
You know, that wasn't nothing. The only truth about that story is the bear did eat some cocaine, but not that much, and it wasn't as bad as what that movie made it out to be either. Now, come wintertime, I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to get me some what they call squirrel corn. It looks just like deer corn, except for this is for squirrels only. And if I see any deer out there eating it, you know, I'm going to pop them. If the game warden asks me about it, I'm going to say, Well, I'm just trying to save the squirrel. You know, the deer wasn't coming in invading it.
Well,
Really? What?
this is a scenario that I didn't come up with it. I was on Angry Preppers, and he asked. Well, when he did interviews, he asked everybody. Shift has happened, and you're out on your own and whatnot, and you come across somebody's stash. You know, their food and whatnot. It's you kind of found it. And the question is, what do you do? Do you take what you found or what? So I'll ask Jeff here first, and then we can go to chat with it.
I was reading chat when you was doing that. I was unprepared for this one. What was the question?
Okay. Shift has happened. You're not at home anymore. You and your wife are walking through a field, and you come across somebody's stash of their food, you know, their preps and things. What do you do? Do you gather it all up and take it, or what do you do? There's no right or wrong question here. So
I would probably take half, leave the other half, but stake it out and try to see who's coming and where they go after they get it. See if they go back to a camp or something.
Okay. And we got Shift Kicker says, if you don't need it, leave it. What was the question again? Okay. It's you know, shift time. It's you're out walking and stuff, and you're trying to get to a safe place to camp out or whatnot, and you come across somebody's preps or their stash, the cache, whatever you want to call it, and you see it there. What do you do? And here's another. Depends. If I was starving, I might take it, but I know how to fish and hunt, etc. So if I was well fed, I'd probably leave it. Okay. There's another one. Leave it.
Be charming. If I needed it, I'd take it, or take what I could carry. Now, I like kind of like what little lone prepper said. I just about said the same thing. You know.
Okay. Now, like I said, there's really no, because you're not in that situation, so it's kind of hard to tell. But there are scenarios to this to where it would completely change everything. Now, if I said you guys were starving to death and you haven't ate for days, then the scenario would change. Or, you know, you have somebody sick and you needed medicine, you know, the scenario changes with that. Now, say you guys decide to look through it and see what you could find. Well, when you start looking through it, all of a sudden lights flash and these people come out of the ground and take you instead, because you just came into a trap.
I was thinking that, but I know
you never know about this kind of stuff. And what what I said when I was asked this question is, I marked it on a map and went along my way and left it and said if I needed it at a later time, I would know where it was at. But like I said, there's no wrong answer. Well, there is, but in this scenario, there isn't.
Gardening warrior, I need to know that trick.
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, I can see you. Well, technically anybody can block you from them seeing you, but only the creator can block you from everybody seeing you in that channel.
Ah.
Yeah. See, if I was over at, say, we're over at 101s and I didn't want to see what Jeff was typing anymore, I would just hide him or block him, and then I wouldn't be able to see him, but everybody else could. Yeah, cash could be a trap, and everybody's watched movies to where they've seen something that looks way too good to be true, and when they find out, when they go for the bait, then they find out, oh, it's a trap. Well, see, that's the thing, Sandy. Normally that would be the case, but in the case like it's total shift thing happened, and there is really no property. It's just, unfortunately, every person for themselves type thing. And like I said, it all depends, because any little bit that you add on to that scenario completely changes it. Like I told Jeff, I said, at first, I said, if you come across it, and normally you would just leave it. But if I add on there that you were starving and you haven't ate for 3 or 4 days, that changes a lot.
That it does. It changes the whole scenario.
And just like when the pioneers are going across, going to Oregon, doing the Oregon Trail thing, people were thirsty, really thirsty, and there's water, but they know if they drink the water, they could get sick and eventually die. But when you haven't drank for so long, you don't think about the possibility of getting sick. And that's why so many people on the Oregon Trail didn't die from Indians. They didn't die from snake bites. They died from parasites in the water. They got sick and got the fever and died from drinking the water. And that's the thing they always say when you're out somewhere and you see this nice clean water flowing down the hill, down the stream, know where that water is coming from, because there could be a deer taking a leak in the water. It looks really nice and clean, but you don't know what's upstream.
What's it taste like?
And that's why I liked about uh, oh darn it, what was the name of it? Yellowstone. I think it was 1883 is when they were making their way to Oregon. Well, that's where they thought they were going, but they actually went to Montana. But there was a whole bunch of people when they first started, and it ended up just them. That's the only people that made it. And I probably shouldn't say anything for people who didn't watch it, but that's the reality of it. Was there at the start of those wagon trails, there were so many people heading west, but at the end of it, there was very little that actually made it. And that there were Indians and people getting bit by snakes and stuff, but the majority of the time it was, listeria in the water.
Well, it would seem like to me the wagon master would try to adjust the water, on each trip. You
didn't you didn't carry the water though. You carried some, but maybe 10 gallons or something like that. But majority of the time, you went from one water hole to the next water hole to the next water hole.
Had that work out for some of them.
That's the way, and unfortunately, that's going to be if things end up turning sour. That will be the way it happens again, because you sit there and think about it. The generation nowadays, do they know that they can't go to a stream and start drinking it? And it'll be just like that back in the olden days when they were in the wagon trails, telling them, see this leaf, that's poison ivy, you can't touch that. Those little snakes that have the cute little rattle on the back, those are bad.
Well, now when it comes to the leaves, it depends on how you like the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good toilet paper right there. Y'all try that one. Hello, Wade Family Farm.
Yeah, I seen where they were making some salad dressing, old-fashioned salad dressing, where the lady had to whisk the eggs, and she was sitting there for a good while, and the timer went, and they kind of sped it up because you had to make the egg yolks fluffy and light. So you can imagine how whisking it, and not with the whiskers that you have nowadays. It was like a broom. It was just
okay,
those type of whisk, and she's going, and then she put oil and vinegar in it to make the salad dressing. And you sit there and think of how long it took her to do that, and how long it actually takes you nowadays to make something like that, because you have all these machineries and things that, and it's all whisked.
I messed up. I'm sorry. I'm eating a peach.
You're gonna end up on the toilet again.
It'll be my sixth time today. Damn. I'm gonna have to take a bath before I go to bed tonight.
You want to take a cold one?
Oh hell, that is right, ain't it? Damn.
Unless you heat up some water.
Our hot water heater went out Saturday.
Oh, that sucks.
Mhm.
We know how to
Yeah.
do it the old time way.
Yeah. We know how to do it old school. I ain't crazy about it, but
Yeah. Oh,
I was raised up with
yeah. I remember my grandpa. It's time to take a bath, and I had to get and it was a metal tub, and it was hung up on the side of the shanty. I pulled it off and set it down and put a 5-gallon bucket in there, and then start the fire and start putting warm water in there. If I was lucky, if it was summertime, you didn't use hot water.
That's right.
now you know what? I've never seen that done, but now that you've said it, why in the hell couldn't my parents do that? Light a fire up underneath the tub.
Oh no,
Hell,
that wasn't. Yeah, we had the cast iron kettle that went on the top of the fire, and then you'd pour it in there and fill it back up and pour it in there again. That was a full bath right there. Nice warm water. And when I say a tub, it's probably about 2 feet by 2 feet. And you cuddled in there like this if you were sitting in there.
And you better pray you wasn't a heavy sized person too. Or your butt would be in there while your feet would be hanging over. But yeah. Now we behaved, but I think I was 10 years old and we moved up to standard size. You know, but Pop went and bought one of them oval tubs.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah. Man, that was about like a swimming pool back then.
We took pan baths.
Yeah, that can get expensive.
Carol Z, thank God I'm renting. But I believe it's the heating element gone out
That
on it.
probably is.
You know.
Oh, those are not too hard.
No.
Yeah.
But I've crawled up underneath the house, look at the hot water heater, and it's not busted. It don't look like it's rusted out or anything. So
The hot water got hotter than normal.
yeah.
And then it's had to go out, I guess.
Now, when was it? Friday night? That
Something
water
like
got
that.
so caught picking hot you could scald a hog in it.
Yeah.
That was probably as burning out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I took a shower. Jeff took a shower, but it was warm water.
Don't tell everybody I took a shower. That'd ruin my
And
reputation.
then come find out, came home that day and the hot water heater wasn't working.
Yeah, Sandy, I heard you guys are getting the warm weather now. About time somebody does, except for up here in Ohio.
Good God.
90 to 95 degree weather. When we're supposed to still be having our spring.
Carol Z, what part of Texas? North, south, east, or west?
The west side was getting it pretty good today.
Water?
Yeah, heat wise.
Carol Z, I don't know what size water tank mine is, but if it's anything less than a 50-gallon, I'm gonna have to take a shovel and dig out for a 50-gallon. You know, yeah, I mean, 40 gallons ain't much. No,
Did you read what Cassie said?
No, Wait a minute. Where's she at? Oh. That's right, Cassie. Once a month, whether I needed or not. And it's on a Saturday night, too.
Oh, right around Austin, Texas.
Okay. Matter of fact, I think that's when I changed my socks and underwear too. Is when I take a bath.
It was nice today. It was in the low 60s. Not too bad.
Truthfully, I couldn't tell you what it was here.
It wasn't too bad here.
No, I mean, running around, keeping your eye on a couple of kids. That's the last thing you think about.
Jeff will sleep good tonight.
Oh, yeah, I don't think the wife's going to have to strap me in the bed tonight.
But like I said, the one main reason I wanted it to kind of do the scenario thing was there's a lot of people out there that are, old folks like me and Jeff, and some disabled and stuff like that, and they get written off saying they're not very useful and stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff that the young folks just don't know anymore because it's not taught. It's not, it's nowadays you go do, and you have your stuff delivered to your house. You don't even have to go drive to McDonald's. It comes to you now. And what happens when that stops working? What do? They have no idea. Majority of people don't know how to cook anymore. They don't even know how to boil water.
Hell, they can't even open up a can of beans.
Yeah, I mean, do they even make the can openers anymore? The little cranking ones?
They do, but the one from Dollar Tree is not that good. Don't get them. They do. I do know for a fact Walmart's got them. Dollar General's got them. Family Dollar's got them. But they're like on end caps, hanging up in different aisles. You got to really look for them.
Special aisles.
But you give me a good knife, I'll open one up faster than you can put one up underneath a can opener.
Oh yeah. But basically what I'm getting at, don't sell yourself short. Don't listen to people because so many times I've seen these things done and people will say, well, I can't do that because, my knees will give out and whatnot, but I do it this way and it's much easier. Oh no, you can't do it that way. You'll end up being left behind and dying in the woods somewhere. Don't listen to all that stuff. There's so many times I disagree with what, unfortunately, the prepper community says about folks, and mainly the older people and whatnot, and it irritates me.
Well, now wait a minute. Hold on. You've got some, and I say some with an emphasis there, that do look onto the elders for help.
Oh, yeah. Very,
do this,
very slim
do that
number.
Yeah, slim to none, but there are a few of them out there. And, I reckon people my age and your age, the ones to stay away from are the younger crowds because they're going to put you out there to dry real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But now, to me, it's like this: a prepper community, a true prepping community, looks after one another through thick and thin. You know,
And that's why I always want to get the chat involved in it, because there's multiple different ages, there's male, female, and everybody has a different way of doing stuff. And just because I say, well, you have to do it this way, doesn't mean that works for everybody that's out there. Everybody has a different way of doing stuff, and it may not be the 100%, textbook way to do it, but there's the ways other people can do stuff that somebody else might not even think of.
well, I've heard this my whole life. It takes a lazy person to find the easiest way out. And with that being said right there, what may work for me,
May not work for them.
yeah, may not work for somebody else. Somebody
Mhm.
else will probably find an easier way to do it. But it has worked for me all these years, and I'm going to keep doing it the way that's best to me,
Yeah.
But as long, okay, it's like cleaning a house. Who cares how one person cleans a house as long as it's clean?
Oh no, you
Clean it.
have to start in the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't start in the kitchen. That's the wrong way of cleaning your house.
Or you ain't
Yeah.
mopping the floor right. You're supposed to do it in circles, not in a straight line. Look,
Yeah.
you do it your way, I do it my way. You don't like it, there.
I
Yeah.
never done mine, so
Look, that was a figure of
Oh.
speech. Don't get technical over there with me.
I knew that.
Tonight is still young.
Yeah, okay.
What you
Whatever.
sit there and because I know it's weird, but I like watching Little House on the Prairie, and they in the show they actually do stuff like they sweep the dirt floors and whatnot.
Oh my God.
And you hear people that like nowadays, why are they sweeping the dirt floor? It's dirt. Yeah, but that dirt floor is like concrete from walking on it all those years, and there's dirt. You have to sweep it up.
Dude, it's like this right here. I remember my grandmother, her walkway was dirt, no grass on it whatsoever. She would get out there and she would sweep, okay? And it's going to sound funny, but her dirt walkway didn't have no loose dirt on it at all.
No,
And
that's why she swept it, so it didn't get tracked into the house.
Exactly. And she would hit you upside the head if you walked on it while she was sweeping it too.
Yeah.
Bear.
But I mean, what worked for them? To me, shit, that's dirt. Leave it alone.
Yeah, and look at the way that they were building them houses and stuff back then.
Oh my God. There ain't a man alive today that could hold true to a man.
Well,
Or
there
let's
kind of
say-
is. They're Amish. They still do it that way. Well, true Amish, I'll put it that way. Some of the best architects, and they still can't duplicate it. I'm gonna say it's Japanese, but the way they mortared their edges and stuff, and they can't make machines to do this. How they did it by hand, just by hand tools. The way they built their buildings and all that stuff. You can go back to the pyramids, which a lot of people think it's aliens that did that. Some of those, or giants, I've heard that one too. Some of the pyramids are perfectly square. from one pyramid to the other one, and they don't have machines that can actually duplicate that. They can get close to it, but they can't make those buildings square like the pyramids. And they did that with hand tools, wooden and rock tools and stuff like that. And you sit there and think about that. And we have all this technology, computers and stuff, and they still can't do like the people in the olden days did with just hand tools.
Right. Well, now I've sat here and I've watched a lot of TV. People building houses or barns out of logs and doing it old school, before power tools. They didn't use power tools. Now, watching a lot of that in my head, I know how to build one. But for me to get out there and start from scratch, dude,
That's a
one
lot of
end of
work.
that house would be 2 foot, the other one would be 20 foot.
Yeah.
But I guess you just got to build a few of them before you can start getting good. I'm not saying perfect,
Yeah.
I do know that really logs, they're supposed to be no cracks between the logs. And then I'll look at some of the, let's say, barns or shacks that were built back then. Man, there is 2 foot gaps between them logs. Where they filled in with, I can't think of the name of it now, but let's say like mud and straw, chinking, where they used
chinking.
a lot of, I'll start out with Lincoln Logs first.
Yeah, there's places that will go and buy these old barns and stuff because they're perfectly made.
Yeah.
And they'll number each and every one of them because they can't. It's very hard to duplicate that. And if one is rotted out, they have such a hard time just with one board or one log. It'll take them 3 or 4 days to fit this one log in there because they're just not equipped for that. They get the chainsaws and stuff like that, and they'll set it in there. Whoops, that one's too short, or that one didn't line up, and they'll get another log in there and try it again.
Well, now
I forget what the show was, but they had one log, and they found out that when they used the chainsaw, they couldn't get an accurate enough cut, so they went to the old-fashioned saw, and they started getting better once they started using the old tools. And it's because they couldn't perfectly get the cuts right.
The name of the show was called Barnwood Builders.
I have no idea. I've never seen the name of it. I just came across them working on the barns or moving them.
Well, now, one thing that impresses me, you get the real old ones back in mid 1800s. Not one nail was used; it was all pegged.
Yeah,
and some of them are still standing today, and I would say still outlasted a brand new house that was built today.
Yeah, and we have all this, pressure treated this and pressure treated that with chemicals, and 3 or 4 winters and it's already rotted out.
It don't take that long. Now, I like the way little lone preppers thinking. I think I could make me a house if I had enough of those big size Lincoln logs and super glue.
Yeah, I seen somebody. They were putting post in, and I wanted to yell so loud, but there's they already made the video and everything, so I'm sure a lot of people do this when they watch something. They're like, "No, no, don't do that," but it does no good because the video is already made.
And they ain't gonna hear you anyway.
Yeah, they're putting these logs in there with the bark on there and everything, and I'm like, oh
No,
no,
beetles. That attracts beetles.
Yeah, when doing this, because I know this because I watch some good bushcrafters from that all they do is build these things, and they last for years, and they use the knowledge of people that came before them, many years before them, and it was handed down and handed down. What they would do is they get these logs and they strip them of all the bark, and the part that go in the ground, they would take it over there and burn it, and burn the outside of the log, and then put it into the ground. When you burn the log, insects won't go into that, so insects is the thing that's going to rot it out, and that's how they did that. They would burn the log part that goes into the ground, and then they pack it in there, and no worries. And that's the thing that people forget about, the things that they did before we had all this scientific things. You start building some of that old stuff, and it's not the same.
But it doesn't. Well, that goes back to what you started out with. Some people may be good at that, where the rest of us ain't. So it would be up to that very few people to teach the young ones how to do it.
Yeah.
Plain simple.
And say, the world goes totally bonkers and there's not many people left, and you're stuck there with a bunch of 15 to 25-year-olds, and you have to survive in a small community. Would you rely on those people to survive, or would you try to school them on things that like growing a garden?
Right.
Do you think they would know how to grow a garden? Some of them may know, because they may have somebody that's taught them, but more than likely the majority of them are going to be like, huh?
Well, now, to me, that would be a trick question.
Yeah.
Because, they wouldn't have survived as long as they have if they didn't know something.
Or being with somebody that did.
Be charming. Can I have the vineyard chicks on my team?
Yeah, and the way you look at that is, who taught them? Their parents.
Yeah.
And that's the whole gap. There's been a whole big gap to where this stuff wasn't taught to youngins. And like Jeff was saying today, is he was out there with them, showing them how to plant and stuff. and they're expecting it to pop up and we got food.
It don't work like that. I wish it did, but it don't. You know,
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
he wants to be on Team Peaches. Is that your team?
Let's don't go there tonight. I can't help I love peaches. That's better than that. What type of beer was that?
Super beer.
Yeah, at least it's better than super beer.
A brandy one. I think I've seen that one. Trying to think of the name of it now. I think I have some of those seeds too.
Nebraska Prairie. Both of my grandfathers died either before I was born or before I was able to walk. Both of my grandmothers, and I really don't want to say it like this, but kind of reminds me of the Wicked Witch off of Wizard of Oz. Well, I mean, one of my grandmothers told me during the thunderstorm, drive a nail in the ground, you could hear the devil beat his wife. Hell, I tried it. I did. Come on. I was 7 years old.
Like you
I would have paid attention to my grandpa. I would put it that way, because he did teach me a lot of stuff. But I was young enough where it was like in one ear out the other type thing. But I really wish I would have paid more attention, because I remember him talking to me about stuff, and then sometimes I would remember him talking about it, and I'm like, well, what did he do then? And I remember like he had a big old cast iron skillet that I couldn't pick up with the handles with both hands. I had to carry it like this, and he would just flip that thing around with his hands, and he'd lay it down there and put a bunch of bacon grease in there, and he'd pour a big old tub of pancake batter in there, and it was the size of that skillet, and that was one pancake, and that was breakfast.
But what the restaurant says today, them little pancakes.
Sandy M, the peaches I got look like plums. That's about how big they are. But now you want to talk about pancakes? Yeah. You want to talk about pancakes? The restaurants down here, if you go and order a pancake, don't order but one. Because it's going to be hanging over the plate about an inch all the way around.
Yeah.
I love pancakes, but I can't eat over one. I'm stuffed.
Yeah. There was a conversation going on I was live on TikTok, and I was strolling through, and I stopped and was listening to it, and they were complaining about the old folks and stuff like that, and it got me remembering, because we our parents were I almost said it, but bad parents back then. And I was like, well, I remember when Dad would yell, we were back of the truck, and says, "Get down." We'd all lay down in the bed of the truck, because Popo came by or something, and he'd bang on the window, and there wasn't no sliding windows back then that you slid open from the cab, and he would say, "Get me a drink," and we'd get in the cooler and lean over the side and stick our hands to the front of the side windows and give your dad a beverage. I'm not going to say what it was,
Yeah.
but and that was, that's how we grew up. And it was like, nowadays you have to be, which is safe, but you have to be in car seats, and they have to be so, before they can be turned around to where you can look where you're going, they have to be so many pounds and all kinds of regulations and stuff. And yeah, nowadays you can't ride in the back of a truck. Even if you're an adult, you're not allowed to ride in the back of a truck. And it's just how many people out in chat has rode in the back of a truck when you were a kid? It's a normal. Go ahead.
Rode in the back of a truck, drank water out of a garden hose, and didn't use that SPF stuff like that, and survived.
Yep.
You know.
And
kids today are mainly wimps. I mean, I love them, but I don't think the kids today can hold a candle to kids of when we were coming up.
Oh,
okay?
No way.
I mean, I do remember this right here. The last thing you told your parents is, "I'm bored." You did it one time and you remembered it for life. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time because I seen this question. I can remember this too. I actually multiple times I had to drive my dad back home because he drank too much, and I was probably 8, 9 years old. Got pulled over, and the cop took the keys and said, "I'll be back at 6 o'clock in the morning when your dad can drive home." And no tickets, no nothing. He came back 6 o'clock, and Dad thanked him, and we were on our way. And oh boy, nowadays, ooh, that'd be all over the news and everything.
I couldn't tell you how many times a police officer has given me a ride home because I wasn't able to drive. Okay, I'll put it like that. You know, but
rode backwards in a station wagon. Yeah.
Oh, I've done that many times.
Yep, I remember having to sit in that back little. When there wasn't no seat back there, there was the back seat, and then the little ones got to sit in the back. Kabong, kabong, and you bounce all over the place, hit your head on the top of the roof. Yeah.
Man, they don't know what it's like to ride in a station wagon.
Yeah, I remember in Albuquerque, I didn't like the babysitter that I was at, so I said, "Well, I'm going home," and I was real little, and I was walking down the street, and cop stopped and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm walking home." And he said, "You're too young to be walking home by yourself." And I said, "I'm walking home." And he's following along with me with his window down, and he said, "Why don't you get in? I'll give you a ride home." I said, "No, I'm not supposed to talk to a stranger." And he said, "I'm not. I'm a policeman." And I don't, and I said, I don't know who you are. I'm not. And he ended up calling on the radio and found out who I was and whatnot, and called and ended up there. They called my dad, and my dad ended up coming down, and I'm still walking down the road, and we're stopped down there, and he says, you know, I've been sitting here for an hour and a half trying to get him in the car so I can give him a ride home. He said he wouldn't let me take him home.
Ah, damn frog, really? That was uncalled for. Mr. Boswell, the lone wolf. Lone Wolf McQuaid, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Chuck Norris.
I was wondering who's going to be the first one to remember that movie.
Yeah, and this was Albuquerque, so you know, New Mexico, everybody knows it's hot, and I was barefooted, but that was normal for me. I was always barefooted. And you remember when you could go in the grocery store or whatnot barefooted, or your shirt, well, men with their shirts off. Now, you know, you have to have your shirts on, shoes, and all that stuff.
I remember when people used to smoke inside of stores.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. Remember riding in an airplane? Well, I never rode an airplane, but I've seen movies where they had a no smoking. You know, when the lights came on, you weren't allowed to smoke.
The damn sure did, didn't they?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. You just said something. See, no smoking, fasten seat belt, and it was something else. I remember when they started putting the signs up, no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
What, my money's not any good because I don't have my shoes on?
What it was is they didn't want you to get cut on glass.
Hey, Jake. Yeah, and it's a shame that it's frowned upon, you know, of the generation nowadays of how we lived back then, because they make fun of, oh, you guys had to drink out of water hoses, and your parents didn't let you in the house in the daytime.
Hell, it wasn't that they didn't really let us we didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know, we had too much fun back then.
Nowadays, you have to have a parent with you because there's such bad things in the world.
Yeah.
And drinking out of a water hose will probably get you sick now.
I don't think,
to me, it was better back then. And that's not because I grew up back then. It's just the way it is.
Well, water was more pure back then than it is today, too. You know. But I will tell you this, and I'm pretty doggone sure you will back me up on this. During the summertime, if it's about 90 degrees and you're thirsty, you always let that water run through the hose for a couple of minutes before you drink it.
Oh, yeah, because that's hot. That water get hot.
You're going to burn your tongue and mouth.
Yeah.
You know. But, you know, as far as barefoot, shit.
And And just think, if you woke up Saturday morning and you watch your cartoons, and because there was no cell phones there, and most people didn't have telephones in their house. You rode your bike around until you seen a bunch of bikes in a yard. That's where everybody was hanging out at.
Exactly.
So that's, they're over at Tommy's house. So you rode your bike and threw it on the ground, and usually you just walked in, because if you were in that area, everybody knew each other, and there was no locked doors or anything like that.
Not really. It wasn't. And it's like hell, that one set of parents could be raising 20 youngins that wasn't even theirs. When a youngin walked into a house with adults, they was treated with respect back then.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. And it's sad that you don't have that anymore. Oh, thank you, Eric. You shouldn't have. I appreciate it though.
But what gets me?
Go ahead.
What gets me is, before a person will say he or she was wrong, you'll never see them again. So if you've got a enemy you don't want coming around, find something that he was wrong in and get him to apologize. You'll never see him again. Or loan him some money. You'll never see him again after that either.
Yeah, I remember. Okay. It was one of the reasons I stopped doing Facebook, but we were down at the park and it had just rained, and the grass and everything was real muddy. There was, a lot of water and everything. And I said, well, you guys know, when I was a kid, that was like the best thing is to go in and run as fast as you can and slide through the mud and get real muddy and everything like that. And
hell yeah.
They was like, really? And I said, yeah, if you want to, go ahead. And they went out there and I was taking pictures, and they were having to go all muddy as could be. And I did the Facebook thing. I posted them on Facebook, and so many people complain, they're going to get diseases, and how could you? You're an awful parent for letting them play in the mud. And I'm like, really? You never played in the mud when you were a kid?
Oh my God.
It makes no sense to me. And I said, it'll take no time at all. They'll get in the tub, get cleaned up, put the clothes in the washing machine, and it's done. And they have fun. That's all that mattered.
Now, back during the summer, when it rained, Mama always left a couple of towels and a change of clothes on the back porch. And she told us, there's the hose pipe. I don't want you looking like it when you come in my house. That's what do you call a pre-shower? Hell, we didn't have showers back then. We had baths.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they're super kids or anything, but like my boys, their wives always complain that they get sick. The wives get sick all the time for whatever, and
they do.
And my boys don't get sick. They'll go 2 to 3 years and not get a cold or anything, and they complain that they go, they get a shiver and they get a cold or something. And they said, well, why don't they get sick and stuff? And says, well, one thing, I didn't go to the doctor every time they got a sniffle or something, or they a fever. I didn't do anything. I let their bodies do what they're supposed to do. So many times, soon as a kid gets a fever, oh, Tylenol, and you got to give them every 4 hours. And no, I mean, at one point, if it got bad enough, yes, I gave them medicine. I wasn't a bad parent or anything, but your body is gets a fever for a reason, because your body is fighting something, and if you stop your body from fighting, it gets weak. it's pretty much common sense, and I'm not a doctor, so YouTube, don't get mad at me. I'm not suggesting or misinformation doctors and stuff.
Let kids be kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them play in the mud puddle. Let them go skinny dipping in a pond, or whatever. Now, how many
Well, I
times
wasn't today, but back in, yeah.
well, how many times have you been walking barefooted on a hot road or something like that, and you see a mud puddle and you walk over there and just stand in it, and that was one of the best feelings? Or the mud coming up between your toes, I mean, that was a good feeling. Unless y'all done that, y'all have no idea.
Yeah, but the only thing is, 5 minutes after you started walking again, it was worse.
Yeah, that's true too. But as kids, we were tough. We could deal with it. We had to.
Yeah.
And both of my grandyoungins today, they was out here, 5 and 3 years old. They run around outside, no shoes, no socks on. I'm letting them go.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they tell you not to do that now because of ringworms and whatever else is in the ground.
Shit, not my youngins. I mean, my daughter and her husband is take them shoes off. You outside, like that.
Yeah.
They remember,
Well, that's the way it was. It's been.
Yeah. I mean, we are the generation who started this generation, the knowledge, everything.
Not really, but there's another generation in between there, Jeff.
Oh, damn, that's right, ain't it? I forget about that. We were the experimental stage. We experimented game consoles before it got to where it was today. Somebody in chat said Atari game, Pong. Yeah, somebody had to be a guinea pig. Hell, I remember spending hours playing that game.
I beta tested Pong by myself. I played against myself. There was no computer part to it.
No, it was you against somebody. It wasn't you against the computer.
What do you want?
But it's,
over here tapping my arm over here. Say hi.
Hey, kitty.
He's looking at himself in the other camera or other monitor.
Oh shit! I got what? Hell, it's something like a 5x8 mirror, and I got squirrels come up on the porch, right? So I got to thinking one day, I wonder what they would do if they see their reflection. They were so damn scared they wouldn't jump back up on the table after they seen their reflection. I got some fancy ass squirrels out here where I live. I'm gonna tell you, the squirrels back in the day would have tore that mirror up, thinking it was somebody else.
We lost Bear when he found his first peach.
Dude, you're lucky I can't block your ass.
Yeah. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select,
Uh-huh.
start.
Or left, right, or left, or up, left. Make him jump higher.
Which one?
AR, I hated flip flops with a damn passion. They would dry rot before I'd put a pair of flip flops on.
I never did those things. I was always barefoot. Because that's the thing. You could go in the store. You can go. It didn't make any difference. There's people walking around barefoot all the time, and
Yeah.
you got like your own shoe on the bottom of your foot from walking around barefooted all the time.
The reason I couldn't stand flip flops because I'd lose them every time I took off running, and I didn't feel like turning around going back to get them.
Well, you know what flip flops were before they were called flip flops, right?
Shower shoes.
No,
For the
they
jail?
were called thongs.
Called what? Oh, hell.
Thongs.
Or what?
Flip flops were called thongs.
Flip flops are called thongs
Yeah.
before flip flops.
When
Yeah.
they first came out, and then they yep. See, which I don't. Well, I don't know why. I'm assuming why they changed the names of them because of other garments were called the same thing. I'm assuming. I don't know why. Oh no.
Hell no. I'll put the hell to that. No.
But like right now, school's out.
Is
And
it?
I drive up and down the roads. You won't see a kid riding a bike. Unless it's an e-bike.
You won't even see one walking unless you run out of gas either. And
Yeah.
still half the time you won't be walking in. God,
And
how many times have you walked because you ran out of gas?
well, when you're a kid, you don't drive around anyway. You walked or you rode a bike.
You ain't supposed to drive around.
I had to push the car to the service station.
The wife says she had to push the car to the service station a few times. And she used to drive herself to school before she ever got in driver's ed.
Oh yeah. I
who's the one?
drove way before there was a driver's ed.
Yeah.
Out of the country.
Yeah. Well, who was it to run the car in the ditch?
Not me.
Right.
I run the car in the ditch.
Did Dixie drive her car in the ditch?
I did not
Hey, she
know.
had a patch of ice and slid into the ditch.
Oh. Did she?
That's what you told me.
I have not.
She's changing the story.
That's my mom, Philip. That's my mom. Yeah.
They had a old green station wagon. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they nicknamed it the Frog. It was a 3 on the tree.
It was a
Comet.
Oh, I
Okay.
was gonna say it was the Ford.
I
Because
don't
those
know.
used to be called frogs.
comment.
Duct
Little
tape.
Ford Comets.
I've had I've had one of them. I would
I like to
love
have
to lay
one
my
now.
Yeah, boy. or a T-bird. I wouldn't mind having a T-bird as ugly as they are.
I
Were.
got that mountain country without license.
A Comet, yep.
I think the one I had was a 62 Comet. And my daddy showed me how to rebuild a motor in it. It was, what was it? 302 in it. And, you know, I mean, it's the first motor I ever built, period. And hell, I went up there, you know, and I got 5 gallons of gas, poured in there, and the damn thing fired up, pretty as you please. Went out there the next day, thing wouldn't start. And I kept thinking, damn, I know I put gas in it yesterday, so it ain't gas, you know. I got pissed off, threw a hammer through the windshield, called Junkyard to come get it. Come to find out, there was a hole in the gas tank.
Well,
You talk.
you know, when you used to ride a bike around and when it didn't work, you fixed it yourself, or you didn't ride anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
flat tire, or you know, chain pops off, or the pedal broke, or whatever. You fixed it. You know, you didn't wait for your parents or whatnot. You just fixed it.
yep. Cause
Hey,
assault. Because a lot of times, you know, putting the inner tube in the bicycle tire is about the easiest thing after you done a couple 100,000 of them.
Oh yeah.
But all you need is a couple of screwdrivers, and that's it. Flathead screwdrivers. And well, you might as well just go ahead and tighten up the spokes while you add it too, because you know there's going to be a few of them that's going to be loose as all get out. You know, and you take a link out of the chain, make it shorter, or you tighten the wheel up on it, make it. That was about all there was to fixing a bike, to be truthful about it.
Yeah.
Chain comes all the time. It eats your britches up, the legs, so your pants up.
Yeah.
All up.
Or
Well, I didn't wear elephant leg pants back
I
then
wore
either.
elephant legs and bell bottoms.
See?
or the handlebars would get stripped out, and you'd take it apart and put a aluminum can inside there and tighten it down.
Believe it or not, I've not done the aluminum can. I would take a hacksaw and take a washer and cut it in half and kind of take a hammer and bend it around there and then tighten it back down like that.
Yeah.
And that worked.
Well, I think it's about time. It's almost 9 o'clock, and I don't think 101's going to be live, but there are a few other people live. I think Craig is going live tonight. Good Enough, which is TJ. I think she's going live at 9 also.
TJ's going live.
Yeah. Well, it's not TJ anymore, but Good Enough.
TJ's Kitchen.
No, it's not TJ's Kitchen anymore either. It's
How many
Good
more
Enough.
times she gonna change that channel of hers?
I think she says she's done now. This is it.
You're gonna have to email me her new one.
You should still be subscribed. What time you going live, Craig? Yeah, she seems like she's really happy about this new. She's even changed her banner and new logo and the whole 9 yards. So I think this is going to stick.
Well, now.
Okay, 9 Central. Okay, so that's 10 Eastern. So we have
15 more minutes.
TJ's, and then Craig afterwards. And then
So I got about TJ the other night. I noted that I've not seen her in a while. And it's name of her channel is TJ's what?
no, it's good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. So, okay, out.
But I do have a guest set up, hopefully for Friday, or not Friday, but Wednesday. We shall see.
Okay.
And of course, that we will have 10 tonight at
11.
12:45 Eastern, and I think 9:45 or Western or Pacific. You know, the other side.
Not me. When does the Vineyard Chicks start back up?
They're tonight at 9:00 too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
they do
believe it or not,
their music concert at 9:00 every Monday.
because believe it or not, Vineyard Chicks, you done got my wife hooked. She loves listening to y'all.
Yeah.
I'm
But I'll
gonna
go
have
ahead.
to try to
Yep.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going agreeing. I think she said it's the new
Good
perfect.
enough. Good enough.
Yep. And I'm going to leave you guys with the closing ad. Better than you'll find on any YouTube ad. So we will see you on the next one.
Out. Oh,
But you know what, Ken? Let's do this. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that.
Somebody put some detail into this. I like it. Noah, you guys are watching. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only, no professional shit, you know. I don't know if there's spaceships, but I think I see a whole another planetary celestial body out there, like planets and moons, because I see small balls and little bigger balls, and I see balls.